At each and every juncture of our history, somebody's been audacious enough to say, we can do something different. And more often than not, it's been young people who've done it. When Jim Crow still was the law of the land in half of this nation, it was young people who got on buses and went down south. When a Vietnam War was being fought that people realized made no sense and was destroying our credibility in the world, it was young people who stood up and said, enough. Dr. King once said, 2 weeks after Bloody Sunday, after some of those young people had gone down and risked their lives, said, I understand that you're fearful. I understand that you may be near despair, but let me just tell you something. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It bends towards justice. But here's the thing, George Mason, here's the thing, young people, it doesn't bend on its own. It bends because you put your hand on that arc and you bend it in the direction of justice.
I feel like politicians don't expect anything from us, but I think Barack knows that we're capable and he wants to represent us.
We have a war today in which we should have never waged it, and our leaders don't know how to end it, and I was against it, and you need to help stop it. Young people have to get involved.
It's a hands-on campaign, and it starts with us. It doesn't start in Washington. It doesn't start with one person. It starts with all of us.
I am taking an active role in trying to change this country.
It's about change. I see the direction that the country is going, and I believe it's wrong.
I think that there's that sense of wanting to be proud of being an American again, wanting to be proud of what our country's doing.
The Latino population, the blacks, the whites, the Asians, everybody, we can all do it. Sí se puede.
This generation is just crying out for someone who wants to hear what they have to say. We feel like he's one of us.
Yes, sir.
In most campaigns, like, you choose the lesser of two evils, and like in this campaign, people rally around him as like, oh, here's this real person. Let's make sure that this actually goes through, that this actually happens.
I am just thrilled to have a chance to say thank you to all of you. You know, a lot of folks have said that, oh, young people, they don't get involved, they're apathetic. We're not seeing that.
But the senator will be standing on this 8x12 platform.
We are willing to work, we're passionate, and we have something to offer that the rest of America doesn't. This is our campaign this year.
What time are you guys going to be here tomorrow morning? 9 a.m. Thank you so much!
That whole standard of politics is kind of the dorky thing, and you don't really want to get into that. That's really fading out because these issues like the war, especially the war, are so critical that you can't not be involved because it affects everyone.
I know somebody who died over there. He was an office worker, and because there's so few soldiers over there, he volunteered to go on a convoy, and it got hit by a roadside bomb.
These basic American rights that we count on and we all learn about are slowly being chipped away. You hear about things like the wiretapping and the Military Commissions Act. These laws that we know aren't constitutional, but they kind of happen and no one seems to stand up and scream about it.
What happens in the course of this country will rest on us, and we will be looked at as the people who didn't learn from the mistakes of those older than us, or the people who stood tall and made sure it never happened again.
You know, I yell at my TV set all day long when I watch CNN and that sort of thing, and here I saw this opportunity to get the right guy in office so that I can fix some of these injustices in the world.
I wasn't much older than most of you when I first got out there and organized on the south side. You know, these communities had been really hard hit. The steel plants.
His life story motivates me to keep up with my goals and try to achieve them, and that's the way that I want to lead my life.
We actually dealt with some environmental issues, job training programs for people who are unemployed, and it gave you a lot of satisfaction. So.
But the fact that he hasn't been a lifelong DC politician and he doesn't have all those interest groups that he owes and all the lobbyists that he owes, I think that's a great thing, and I think that's probably what this country needs. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, you know.
You can head up right on over here.
About $2 billion of the student loan program goes to banks, and if we get that $2 billion, we can devote that to more grant programs.
Thank you so much. Buster on the sign-in sheet, let us know you were here today.
The U.S. has used up so much of its political capital around the world because of Iraq that they don't have enough leverage to support the kinds of strong efforts that are needed from Darfur.
You guys can go either way. Right over here.
Let's switch down healthcare.
Well, I'm in favor of healthcare. Half of the bankruptcies in America are because people get sick and they've got medical bills that they can't pay. You know, people lose their homes.
You know, he's not the lesser of two evils. He's not the traditional politician up there at all.
Barack said, you know, a lot of people talk about how I don't have a lot of experience learning the ways of Washington, but I've been there long enough to know that the ways of Washington need to change.
You can kind of feel like this energy and this buzz, and it feels like I'm kind of being like tugged along with this thing.
I know I'm doing right and I'm doing what I believe in, so I'm taking steps to make the world a better place.
It's almost like this movement that's coming now is going to be even stronger than it was in the 60s, if that's even possible.
As I approached this campaign, I had to ask myself, why now? Why us? And I think the answer is because the country is calling us, because history beckons us. You know,
That's exactly it. He seems to be the only guy on the planet who gets that it's about us. Voters want to be talked to as if they can contribute more than a vote in November.
we shouldn't make it unaffordable for young people to want to go into public service, who want to go into teaching, who want to go into nursing. And we should have a plan that says that if you are...
You know, I'm so into my studies and all this, and what I'm thinking, well, what is this all good for if I can't do anything about it? Like, and that's what Barack Obama represents to me. Just like Dr. King, like, it's amazing, and I feel like this is a step to the brighter future that I've been hoping for such a long time, and that I've been reading about. Ordinary people who can do extraordinary things. It's not just him up there. We have to be behind him and be engaged citizens.
The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It bends towards justice. But here's the thing, young people, it doesn't bend on its own. It bends because you put your hand on that arc and you bend it in the direction of justice. It bends because you decide that we need a healthcare system for all Americans. It bends because you make a decision that every child in America deserves a decent education, even if they're not wealthy. And that every senior citizen deserves to retire with dignity and respect. And you make a decision that we don't want to just be feared in the world, but we want to be respected in the world. And you make a decision that we're willing to make the sacrifices and take the steps to avoid a melting of the polar ice caps and a drowning of the coasts all across this world. You make that decision, and if you grab that arc, think about all the power that's represented here. If all of you decide that you are going to get involved, if you all grab that arc, then I have no doubt, I have absolutely no doubt that regardless of what happens in this presidential year, and regardless of what happens in this campaign, America will transform itself.
Barack Obama shows that you can still have faith in America. Yeah, we make mistakes and we stumble and we let things happen, but when mobilized, we can do great things. I don't know if I would like to say that, you know, my generation is the next greatest generation, but wouldn't it be nice to think that we could be?